So we're recording. I've decided that I'm gonna give animating a try and basically bring you along with me and see whether or not we can actually work on how to do this, because from all of the tutorials that I've seen, it looks pretty fucking complicated, I can't lie. So we're basically gonna download quite a few things. Let me just get up the list. Okay, so as far as I'm aware, we're going to need Blender, Sims 4 Studio, and also this Rig Plus thing, which is basically a pose helper. It's going to give the Sims more bones or something along those lines. I haven't really got a clue what I'm doing at this point, so we're learning together. I'm bringing you along for the ride. The Blender version that we're downloading is 3.6. Apparently it is the newest version that still works the best with the Sims 4 animating. Okay, so I've downloaded Blender 3.6, but you're basically just going to download it. It's going to bring you to a page of, well, it brought me to a page saying that you could, sorry, I'm getting notifications. Goddamn. Download this file and it's going to bring you to a page and then it says donate to me. Okay, you don't have to donate to it, it will just download. Obviously, if you want to show some support, you can donate a little bit to them, but you want to make sure that you're getting the version that you need. As far as I'm aware, I need the Windows version because I'm on Windows, even though I need to activate it, which, mind your business, okay? I can't be bothered right now. We're also going to be getting this EA Rig Plus Help Poser by Vixated. I, I'm yet to know what this does. I'm yet to know how this helps us, but a lot of people have spoken about it, so I'm going to get it regardless. And then we're also going to need Sims 4 Studio, which you'll just come to here, you'll go to downloads. Oh, oops. Hello? You'll go to downloads. I've actually found the right website this time, and I will link the right website, I promise. Okay, so before we get into anything, a problem that I have run into before is my Sims 4 Studio not working. For the life of me, I could not get it working. I could not understand why. Turns out, because I have so much CC, I've downloaded my Sims game onto another drive, which is, it works out a little bit weird, okay? So basically, normally you would go to your documents and Electronic Arts, Sims 4, Sims 4 mods. I know this looks like this would be my mod folder. It's not, it's my old one. This is not the one that I use. Mine is actually, if I go to this PC, I go to D drive, I go to my users, my name, documents, Electronic Arts, The Sims 4. This is where my Sims is. This is where my new mods folder is. This is where I've put it so that I have enough room for all of my mods, which means that I had to download my Sims Studio into the same place. So I just downloaded it to where my Sims is, and then it worked. I don't know the science behind it, but that might be of use to some people, okay? Alright, so we've downloaded Blender, we've downloaded the Sims 4 Studio, and we've downloaded those EA rig things. Basically, what I would recommend that you do is you go ahead and make a folder to include everything in it. So then everything's in the same place, you know where it is, you know what I mean. So I've got mine in my D folder. I've made the Blender one. It includes actual Blender along with Rig Plus, and then the Rig Plus V1, I actually extracted it. So that's extracted now, and I also have another folder up here which will be shown later. I can't help you with extracting if you don't have the option to extract, I'm afraid. I don't know why some people don't have it. There might be a way around it, there might be some other YouTube tutorials, but I have got zero clue. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to go into Blender and going to edit, preferences, install, and you want to install the plus extras, not the V1 yet, and then you're just going to press install add-on and make sure that it's ticked. So you can use the search bar right here and type in rig and make sure it's ticked. So we're going to go to edit, we're going to go to preferences, we're going to go to file paths, we're going to press add right here, then go back to where you downloaded your Blender stuff from, and we're going to go to assets and add asset library. You see, I was confused, so I turned it on and off again, and now they're here. So basically, you just need to restart it. Just once you've done that, restart it, and then it's gonna load everything back in. As far as I'm aware, that's what worked for me. Okay, it took me a hot minute to figure it out, but basically, you're going to go here, File, Open, and then you're going to go to where you've downloaded your Blender stuff. Instead, go to Rig Plus this time, and here you can choose which one you want to do. So I'm going to choose the Adult to play around with. If you use your mouse button, your middle mouse button, you can turn it like in The Sims and also zoom in and out. Okay, so basically what you want to do is over here is where your adult, where the rig actually is. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you're in pose mode, and then depending on what kind of animation you want to be doing is whether or not you want to do an adult or a female. Sorry, male or female. Adult. So you can choose which one you want to do. The majority of my Sims do tend to be female, and to be honest, I have some very sassy males, so if I worked on a female, then it's going to work for the males regardless, especially Anthony. I'm looking at you, bitch. Okay, so next. Apparently, we want auto keying on, and this is because you don't want to like do an entire animation and have forgotten to key some bits. So you want to go into auto keying and only activate keying set, which means that only what you're moving is going to key, instead of like you moving this arm, for example, hello, and it keying the rest of the body which you haven't moved yet, so it's just going to look weird. You're going to have to undo it all. So also, if you've moved this and you don't like it, Control Z, undo. Then we're going to go here, and we're going to go to location and rotation, and that's what we want the keyframes to do, which means that not only will it keyframe this, but if we was to, I'm not quite sure how to rotate it yet, but if it was to rotate, what the hell is she doing? How do you rotate? Right, it's okay, we're learning this together, and that is the point of the video. Let me redo that. So we're doing this for the location, and this is the rotate. Break your goddamn arm by it. So now, you know, it's going to do both the location and rotation of the limbs. Okay, so from all of the videos that I've watched, the main issue that I've come across is people want you to start the animation by locking all the limbs in a starting point, so basically giving it a keyframe. Now in order to do that, you would press I. Okay. Whole character. Right, okay, cool. So I would, does that mean like if I was, hello? Oh, okay. Am I an animator now? That makes a lot of sense, honestly. But the thing that I don't like is I don't want them to start looking like, you know? I don't want them to start looking like, nobody stands like that. Nobody stands like that. So really quick, I'm going to put this in a more natural, or try to, a more natural position. I don't know anyone's hands that look like that, but that's not the point. We are trying this together. So I'm going to press I. Whole body. So I'm hoping that that's the starting point. So the next step is I've got this tip from Mela on YouTube. Her tutorial is really, really good. So you can also go and watch her if you don't quite understand something from me. Plus, she actually knows what she's doing, and this is just like we're learning together, and if I can do it, anyone can fucking do it. You know what I mean? So we're basically going to make a new folder, and it's going to be called, I'm going to call it thesims.org creations. So you might want to call it your name creations, whatever. But you're going to basically make 4 folders. So the first one is bases. The bases folder is basically when you're going to be using something multiple times so that you don't have to redo it every single time. For example, if you're making an animation pack where it's people talking at a dinner table, but you're only changing the way that people talk, then you'd probably still want to use the same sitting animation, and if you save the sitting animation the first time you do it, then you can just keep importing that and changing it from there instead of having to start from scratch every single time. And you're going to want a new one called completed for any that are completed. Work in progress folder for any that's a work in progress, obviously, and objects, and this is for when you create animations that include objects. So I don't know, you're killing someone with a knife like that, and you need the knife. You get what I mean? So basically, what we're gonna do is we're gonna file and save the current file in the location. We're gonna go to do creations and put it in the bases and save it as. So now we've got this base that we can just open up whenever we need, if that makes sense. So one of the keys that you need to press, apparently, is G. If I press G, I can then move the body and stuff and make a wave, whatever. But for example, if I wanted a head, you see how the G makes her do this? Which, I don't know, I might make an animation like this because this is funny. But yeah, Control Z, remove again. You want to press R instead this time, and R is R. Right, thank you. R is going to rotate side to side. And if you press R again, they're going to look instead. Okay, so now get into the actual animating part, right? So the animation that I've got in mind is, I don't know if you've seen my series, but basically we have a bit of a knobhead called Spider, and he talks a lot of crap. So I want to make a pose, an animation, where Noel or Alex or literally anyone are looking at him whilst he's speaking and thinking, what the actual fuck? And also I thought that that would be a pretty simple animation to start off with, seeing as there's no talking, they're just stood there, it's just more facial expression sort of thing. So that's what we're going to do. We need to start off by locking in the main keyframes of the body movement. Or actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with them looking over here, and then we're going to give it 20 seconds and have them look over in Spider's direction, basically. And then also at around about 50 seconds, I want them to sort of like move from one hip to another, if that makes sense. So and I want them to sort of like put their head to the side like, is he being so for real right now? They look at another person. Okay, so now we've got that. Cool. Okay, perfect. I think we'll probably end up doing it longer than that because I want it to be a pretty long idle. Ah, okay. So we can end it maybe at like, if we end it at 200 and now it's longer. Okay, cool. Okay, just to explain it a little bit more. So you see how she is looking to the side, yeah? Now, if I did not want her to look at the side straight away, I would basically have to do this starting position and then make a keyframe up until the point of when I want her to do that basically. So like right now, see how like this is like that. So for example, if I wanted her to put her hands on her hips, but I don't want it to start until like here when she's put her head down, and that's when she's going to do the shaking. So we've basically got to press insert keyframe whole character, right? Okay, so now she's going to go like this, and then from here we can pull up her arms. So now she'll stay in that and then lift the arms up. That makes sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay, now for example, one of the keyframes is wrong, okay? You don't need to delete the keyframe, right? So, you see how this is when she's putting her head down. I don't know, her head isn't down enough, okay? So, you see like this is wrong. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to zoom on in. Here, I'll move this up there. Zoom on in and make sure that you are on this keyframe. You'll know because it'll be yellow up here. It's fine figuring out what all of the different stuff does. Okay. That's fun. Basically, we can move everything a little bit more, and now that position is correct. Okay, guess what? I figured out how you move. So shift and middle mouse button means you can move around. I thought that was quite important, seeing as though right now I'm going to work on the face expressions. Another thing is, to let you know, this hold down G is blink. Absolutely gobsmacked. So say I want to start the blinks off here. I'm going to add a small keyframe and then shut the eyes, hold it there for a few seconds, and back up. Now, got a blink. So what I've done so far is I've basically made the sim do this. Like, is he so for real right now? I hope that's coming across the right way, but basically I'm just going in and I'm making like the finer details and doing the face expressions, and then I'll have to go in and do the finer details again and again and again until it's perfect. So I'm probably just gonna like speed run this, not speed run it, but you know what I mean. Okay, so I've figured out how to use the presets now. So I'm going to show you that real quick. Basically, go up here until you see your crosshair and you're going to drag it across. Yeah, now you've got two screens. So on this left screen, we're going to go into here and into Asset Browser. And here we've got all of the presets that we downloaded earlier. Now, for example, say I want her arms on her belly. I'm basically going to press A and that selects everything. And if I click this, double click it, then now she's got her arms on her stomach, if that makes sense. Now if I didn't want it to affect one of the arms because one of the arms was doing something, then I would basically go through and select everything but the arm that I was doing it, and you do that. That was my cat. You do that by shift clicking and pressing everything individually, so it can become a little bit of a ball ache. Now if we just undo that real quick, but oh my god, I swear my do not disturb is on. So if we was to put it on for like a head one, I don't know if there is a head one, but for example a head one, and I was to put it here in the middle, then it would basically stop whatever that keyframe was doing if you had highlighted every single body part. So if my sim, for example, was waving and I made her cross her arms and I applied that at the keyframe where she's lifting her arm up, it's going to stop her from lifting her arm up and go back, if that makes sense. So you've just got to be wary of that and make sure that you're undoing your work and checking it. Okay, so officially, I believe that I've pretty much done the game. This is how it looks in Blender. Now we're going to put it into the game. So in order to get it into your Sims game, we're going to have to save it like this as well. So go over here to where it says the adult. You want to hide this one, and right above it you want to pick this one, the rig adult. Basically, this is the plus bones, so we have more control over it, but we want to use the actual Sims bones, if that makes sense. So you're going to go and select pose mode, yeah, and you'll know when it's all highlighted blue. That's how you know that you're in pose mode. Okay, so once you've done that, you're going to, so A, highlight all, and then I, whole character, yeah, keyframe at 0. So we're going to move it right to the end, so whichever one you says the end, mine's 350, and I again, whole character. So now this entire pose has been saved as a big keyframe. So now that we've got this, we can go over and we can go to File and Save As, and then go back to the, and we're going to do this as completed. So I'm just going to change this to the completed version and save as. And that's basically it for Blender. We're now going to go into the Sims 4 Studio to actually get it into the game. Go to Animation and then find your mods folder, basically here. This is where your animation is going to be saved. If you want to save it elsewhere and not in your mods folder, then that's fine. Just make sure that you move it over to your mods folder in order to see it in your game. So I've got to find it. This is the only problem with it being in all of the, there we go. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to add a new folder really quick saying thesims.org and name it what you want it to be called. sure that you go into whichever folder if you have made one. Okay, so now you're going to name it whatever you want it to come up as. So thesims.org first ever animation. I will probably name it better when I put it up for download, just in case anybody wants it on the off chance. I'll like go through this better, but then you can also import an icon. Once again, you might have to go into the game to create that, but for now I'm just going to add this random one in. Okay, then you're going to go over to clips. Once again, name it what you want it to be called, so I'm just going to copy and paste it and import the icon if you want icon, whichever icon it is, whatever. Now you're going to import where you've downloaded, where you saved the Blender file. So I saved it in D Blender completed. It's got to be the completed one that we did, that we saved. And then you'll know if it is imported because it's going to come up here. There we go. So now it's imported. Save. Your package has been saved. So now, if we go into our mods folder, where am I? Got so much stuff. Oh, I'm T on the Sims.org. Now we have our first animation, so I'm going to go into my game to show you. Okay, so now we are in The Sims, and I wish that this stuff just never even happened. But I'm gonna go to Wicked and Pose, and this is also for people asking me about how do you move your Sims. I use Wicked Whims, and the reason why I've not told you whether or not you can use Wonderful Whims is because I don't use Wonderful Whims, and therefore do not know. I'm sure that if you Google it though, you can find out. So I'm gonna... Oh my god, it's here! Basically, I'm gonna press on that. Oh my god, it worked. Like, I was expecting it for some reason not to. So I mean, it doesn't look bad. I'm not seeing any issues with it. Like, there's not major clipping. The jeans do come out a little bit. But like, other than that, there is no... Oh my god! There's no issues! So, basically, that's my first ever animation. I plan on, like, making more. I've got some ideas for some other ones. But I'm going to put this up on Patreon. I'm going to link everything below that you need to make animations, as well as my Patreon. My Patreon is always free. People said, how can we appreciate you? Like, is there anywhere that we can send you money? And I just made a little membership tab. But you do not need to be in that membership in order to download my content. That includes my Sims that I put up for download, and that also includes animations, or I've got like some Billie Eilish billboards that you can put in your saves if you want, stuff like that. You don't have to pay anything if you don't want to. For the people asking, Wicked, actions, enable positioning, and then you can move your Sims. If you go on to here, there's a position increasement. The lower it is, the less it moves, the higher it is, the more it moves. So 1 will move it a lot, 0.01 is going to move it a little bit, and that's the same with the rotation one. 45, a lot, 0.5, tiny amount. And you can also do custom. So say you wanted 15, because 45 is too much. Yeah, so that's how you do that, for all the people that was wondering. And I don't know, thanks for coming along on this little journey with me, now that we both of us know how to animate. I do plan on making more tutorials and more learn with me's as I go on, but if you want a tutorial on anything else, then by all means ask me and I'm sure that I can do it. Cheers for watching. I think that I'm going to make a snappier version of this now that I know what I'm doing, and I'll make a proper tutorial on it instead of a learn with me. But I appreciate you sticking around if you have. I think it's quite nice to have something like this along in the background whilst I'm learning stuff. So hopefully it's helped some of you guys. But I will see you next time. Bye.